Greetings, I'm Art Fireman and we are Projector Reviews TV, so thanks for joining us. The Sony Z55 is a commercial level 4,000 lumen projector with a solid state laser light source. By commercial, I'm talking about a higher performance projector with a large number of features and capabilities not typically found on either portables or small installation projectors. The Z55 is available in white or a dark gray case. This is a small commercial projector weighing in at 25 pounds and being roughly 20 by 16 and less than 6 inches tall. What is interesting is that in Sony's lineup, this projector is a series of one. There's no lower resolution versions, those without networking, those of lower power. This Sony, however, is a WUXGA projector that's 1920 by 1200, which means it also does 1080p natively. It uses 3 LCD panels, so there's no color wheel, and especially no wheel with large slices of white, which tend to bump up measured white output, but result in colors which can't keep up with whites. Now, what makes this Sony projector impressive is that it really performs well. That hasn't been the case for many solid-state projectors we reviewed to date. The laser system design is pretty unique. Sony uses a laser ultimately to create a white light source and then handles the white light source much the way a lamp-based projector would work. Most others focus on individually generating R, G, and B so that phosphors might be used for blue, laser for green, LED for red. Sony's way seems to make more sense, or at least provide superior results. The light source is rated at 20,000 hours with the basic energy efficiency feature engaged, but running the projector at full power, not eco mode. The auto dimming feature works very well and will be discussed later. Warranty is exceptional. Not only does Sony provide 5 years of warranty, which is almost unheard of, and a 12,000 hour warranty on the light source, but Sony also provides their overnight replacement program. And I personally consider replacement programs to be a major benefit. It reduces downtime to almost nothing. All considered, the good brightness, the full-featured networking, impressive picture quality, and great warranty, along with a nice collection of eco features, makes this Sony the best and most competitive solid-state light source projector we've reviewed. Even better, I believe this projector is price competitive with some very good lamp-based projectors when comparing operational costs over a significant period of time. In other words, what you pay extra for the tech, you get back by not having to buy several replacement lamps or spend the time installing them. It's tour time for the Sony VPL-HZ55 projector. We will of course start in the front, and in this case that's where almost all the action is. Right in dead center is the 1.6:1 manual zoom lens, and to the left and right of it respectively are horizontal and vertical lens shift. 2 power indicators over here on the left and right below the front infrared sensor. The only thing on the back is a rear infrared sensor. Let's take a look at the inputs, which are below, and then we'll swing over and take a look at the control panel. First of all, on the far left, we have the power receptacle. Right next to that is a traditional S-video, composite video, and a pair of audio inputs. Moving further along, we've now got audio A, audio B, and audio out. Moving to the right, 5 BNC connectors for component video, and further over is a standard output DB15 to feed a monitor. Hiding up here a little higher up are a HDMI port, and right next to that is a DVI port. And also over here to the right is an RGB input. That concludes the inputs on this projector, and that leaves only really the control panel to look at, which is located on the left side if you're looking at this projector from the front. And we can see towards the left a bit of the side exhaust, but we're primarily interested in the control panel. We'll start from the front of the projector. The power switch, which is press 1 for on, 2 for off. Input or source selection comes next. The traditional menu button, and then comes Sony's, call it micro joystick, which has up, down, left, and right, and when you need enter, you just press in on the joystick. Finally, this Sony has an eco mode button to bring up some of the eco features. Consider that the FHZ55 to be an excellent choice for small auditoriums, multi-purpose rooms, and large university classrooms, to name a few. It's probably great in many churches or other houses of worship, especially if the projector has to be placed where it's very difficult to access to change lamps. One thing I would say about use in houses of worship, many won't need the higher resolution WUXGA or 1080p. So for those with tight budgets, they should look to lower resolution versions when those are released. Thanks to the eco-oriented firmware, if you have a specific demand for output brightness to remain the same over years of use, this Sony does that, and also is overall very eco-conscious. Multiple FHZ55s can be used together in digital signage, art displays, and other environments where extremely wide images are called for to create a seamless large image, and this of course is thanks to edge blending. The Sony also powers up to full power with stable color in about 6 seconds. Figure a minute plus at least for any lamp-based projector. Now that's probably not that important a feature for most, but it's never a bad thing. Picture by picture is standard. 2 sources can be displayed side by side rather than just a small thumbnail in picture in picture. For the scientific and medical community, this projector offers DICOM GSDF. That's for displaying medical films such as x-rays, CAT scans, MRIs, and more. There are a number of competitors supporting DICOM these days, and none of them are really used for reading patients' films for diagnostics, just training. Let's circle back to color again. As expected, brightest modes do not have as good a color as the best modes. What's unusual is Sony's naming methodology. For most projectors, dynamic is the name for the brightest mode. With the Sony though, presentation mode is brightest, and it's definitely not the best, as it has the usual stronger greens associated with projectors' brightest modes. Dynamic and also standard mode by comparison aren't quite as bright, but are similar to each other and sport excellent color. Now, Mike reports that for maximum brightness, the trick in presentation mode is to select the text gamma over the graphics one. It's still fine, but punchier for normal presentations, but it's going to be a little bit less desirable if you're doing things like viewing photos. Not only does this Sony projector have the ability to manage consistent brightness, even over years of time, and by the way, in part it does that by starting down 25% of maximum, but there are modes that start out dimming the projector 15% if there's no change in the content for a bit of time. And as that time gets longer than minutes, the projector will slowly dim all the way down to 5% brightness in less than a half an hour. That should keep the electric bill under control, even if you forget to turn the projector off and it's still hooked up to perhaps a PC, but nothing's changing on the PC image. That all sounds pretty good, although there is one weakness in its eco-credentials. This Sony projector needs more electricity. It draws more wattage than similar 3 LCD projectors using lamps. Consider there's a 6,000 lumen Epson we've recently reviewed that's lamp-based, pushes out 50% more lumens, more brightness, and yet only draws about 25% more electric. One thing worthy of note is that as this is a 3 LCD projector, and that means it does have a filter to change, most DLP projectors don't, but it's becoming more common on this class of and larger projectors that the filters are really long life, in this case 20,000 hours, as long as the light source. So that's 40 hours a week for a decade. You won't have to worry much about it. The Sony Z55's networking offers a host of major capabilities. I discussed some here, but consider that it supports Crestron and AMX protocols, which means networking and command and control. The Sony can report its status, such as needing maintenance, which shouldn't happen more than about once a decade. The FHZ55 offers closed captioning. It does push notifications so that a central network administrator can push out messages through any projector on their network if need be. For example, if there's a blizzard going on, they might power up the projectors in all the conference rooms and say, "Go home, people, come back on Thursday." One feature useful for many but is absent is Wi-Fi. You will find Wi-Fi standard or optional with a number of competitors. So what's the bottom line on Sony's FHZ55? In a world where, for the most part, solid-state light source projectors tend to be pricey and rather underpowered compared to their lamp-based competition, Sony has produced a projector that can produce very reasonable brightness, well over 3,000 lumens with respectable color, and about 2,000 lumens with great color. It's still not the 5,000 to 6,000 lumens that some competitors offer, but if you are looking for a quality picture, don't be confused and expect a $1,000 DLP projector to be a serious competitor. It's not. As to the light source, if a 20,000 hour light source makes sense for your situation, you can consider this Sony to provide comparable value to lamp-based projectors when you figure in their much lower cost of operation because you don't need to change the lamps. So far, the Sony is the best game in town for those wanting solid state, long life light sources, but also demand a great picture. Sony's magnificent 5-year warranty with overnight replacement program should provide more peace of mind than any competitors. If budget dollars are tight or you don't feel the need to spend for a WUXGA/1080p projector, you might want to look elsewhere, but otherwise, this seems to be the class act in laser and LED light sources. And you won't get the feeling that you're paying a massive premium for this advanced technology. Finally, all I can say is, well done, Sony. That's it. I'm Art Fireman. We are Projector Reviews, and thanks for watching.